Why does a weapon most people associate with hunting or the shooting range keep reappearing on modern battlefields? And why has its role in warfare changed so dramatically over time? The answer is more surprising than you might expect, because it doesn't begin in the 20th century, but several centuries earlier, and it ultimately leads straight to one of the greatest threats of modern warfare. When we think of a shotgun today, we usually imagine a relatively short weapon that fires multiple projectiles with a single shot. But this principle is far older than any modern small arm. As early as the 17th century, armies used so-called grape shot or canister rounds. Cannons were not loaded with a single solid ball, but with many smaller metal pieces: lead balls, iron fragments, nails, or bits of chain. When fired, this load spread across the battlefield like a deadly cloud. Against tightly packed infantry formations, this type of ammunition was devastatingly effective. In essence, it was a gigantic early version of a shotgun, just on the scale of artillery. At some point, the obvious question arose: why not scale this principle down and make it portable? The answer was the blunderbuss, a short barrel, large caliber, often with a flared muzzle. It was loaded with whatever was available. Precision was secondary. What mattered was a high probability of hitting something at close range. These weapons found their niche wherever combat was tight, chaotic, and unpredictable. Boarding actions at sea, narrow streets, buildings, and ambushes. But as rifled barrels, more accurate ammunition, and more powerful rifles emerged, their military relevance declined. Range and accuracy became more important than spread. Shotguns disappeared from armies and became primarily civilian and hunting weapons, at least for a time. When World War I broke out in 1914, all major armies relied on modern bolt-action rifles. These weapons were powerful, accurate, and designed for long distances. Then trench warfare set in. Miles of trenches, narrow corridors, mud, darkness. The enemy was often only a few yards away. In this environment, long rifles with bayonets became clumsy and slow. Before submachine guns were widely available, soldiers used whatever worked in close combat: pistols, revolvers, knives, entrenching tools, and improvised weapons. And it was here that the shotgun returned to the battlefield. The United States already had experience using shotguns in combat, especially during the Philippine-American War around 1900. In dense jungle fighting at extremely short ranges, shotguns had proven highly effective. General John Pershing remembered those lessons when American troops were sent to Europe. On his initiative, shotguns were tested for use in trench warfare. The most famous example was the Winchester Model 1897. It was heavily modified for combat use: shortened barrel, metal heat shield, bayonet mount, specialized 12-gauge buckshot ammunition. Each shot sent multiple lead pellets tearing through narrow trenches with devastating effect. One technical feature made the M1897 especially feared. It lacked a trigger disconnector. That meant it could be slam-fired. If the trigger was held down and the action pumped, the weapon fired again immediately, as fast as the operator could cycle it. In the confined space of trenches, this was a massive advantage. Multiple projectiles, high rate of fire, extremely short engagement distances. German forces officially protested the use of shotguns, calling them inhumane. Ironically, this protest came from an army that employed poison gas and flamethrowers. The protest was rejected, but threats followed. Captured soldiers carrying shotguns were reportedly at risk of execution. As a result, many tried to discard the weapon if capture seemed imminent. Despite relatively small numbers, trench guns left a lasting impression. After World War I, shotguns once again faded from frontline service. Military development shifted back toward range, automatic fire, and precision. But World War II introduced a completely different environment: the Pacific. Dense jungle, limited visibility, sudden close-range engagements. US Marines quickly discovered that shotguns were once again extremely effective. especially when attacking fortified positions or defending against surprise assaults. Flamethrowers and shotguns became some of the most feared tools of island warfare. In the decades that followed, shotguns continued to appear in asymmetric conflicts. In Vietnam, tank crews used them for close-range defense. A soldier often sat on the rear of the vehicle, armed with a shotgun to repel attackers attempting to approach at close distance. At the same time, new roles emerged: door breaching during special operations, less lethal ammunition, compact models for police and military use. Weapons like the Ithaca 37 and later the Mossberg 500 became classics. During the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, a new pattern emerged. Shotguns were no longer primarily frontline combat weapons. They became tools. They were especially effective for breaching doors. Specialized ammunition destroyed locks and hinges while minimizing dangerous ricochets. Some assault rifles were even fitted with underbarrel shotguns, providing a last resort close-quarters option or a fast breaching capability. But no one expected the shotgun to take on yet another new role. Modern warfare has changed radically. Today, one of the greatest threats is not a tank or a sniper, but a small, cheap drone. FPV drones can deliver explosives with extreme precision. They are difficult to detect, difficult to jam, and often faster than human reaction time. Hitting a fast-moving drone with a standard rifle round is extremely difficult. This is where the shotgun re-enters the picture. Shotgun ammunition dramatically increases hit probability. Instead of a single projectile, a cloud of pellets is sent toward the target. In current conflicts, especially in Ukraine, many infantry units now carry at least one shotgun. Vehicles often keep one ready specifically for drone defense. New ammunition types are being tested: net rounds that entangle rotors, specialized dispersal loads, experimental hybrid solutions. Some militaries are even testing drones armed with shotguns to shoot down other drones. The return of the shotgun cannot be explained by technology alone. The human factor is just as important. Compared to complex weapon systems, shotguns require relatively little training. Many soldiers, especially those from rural backgrounds, already have experience with hunting firearms. That familiarity translates quickly into combat effectiveness. Under extreme stress, this matters. An intuitive weapon reduces cognitive load. Reports from modern conflicts show that soldiers often feel safer knowing a shotgun is available, even when they understand its limitations. That sense of security can be decisive in seconds-long engagements. There is also a psychological effect. As early as World War I, trench guns were considered especially intimidating. The deep, unmistakable sound of a shotgun blast combined with its close-range effect left a strong impression on the enemy. Even today, knowing that some form of drone defense exists, no matter how improvised, can significantly boost morale. Improvisation is another key factor. Modern warfare evolves faster than traditional procurement cycles. New weapon systems take years to develop and deploy. A shotgun, by contrast, is immediately available. Sights can be modified, ammunition adapted, and tactics developed on the fly. History shows a recurring pattern. The more technologically complex warfare becomes, the more valuable simple, robust solutions often are. In an environment filled with electronics, jamming, and software dependencies, a purely mechanical weapon that works in mud, dust, heat, and cold becomes a reliable anchor. In that sense, the shotgun is less a relic of past wars and more a symbol of adaptability, an old principle finding relevance in a completely new context. Still, the shotgun is not a miracle weapon. Its range is limited, the reaction window is extremely short, and ammunition is scarce. Against multiple drones at once, even this solution quickly reaches its limits. Hollywood has also created a misleading image. Shotguns require training, especially against small, fast-moving targets. Simply pointing in the general direction is not enough. Portable air defense systems are expensive and rare. Electronic jamming does not always work. especially against wire-guided drones. Laser and microwave weapons exist, but they are not yet practical for individual soldiers. The shotgun, by contrast, is robust, simple, and immediately usable. It works without electronics, an enormous advantage in chaotic combat environments. No one expects shotguns to ever become the primary weapon of infantry forces again, but all signs suggest they will retain a specialized niche role well into the future. Ironically, this demonstrates how non-linear military development really is. Progress does not always mean replacing old ideas. Sometimes it means using them differently. A weapon originally designed for close combat in confined spaces is now protecting soldiers from threats coming out of the sky. Not because it is modern, but because its core principle is timeless.